I'm trying to talk to the camera. Hi everybody. Welcome to a new video. I just tried to sit on the ground. But the dogs want to be in it. And now we've got squeaky toys. This is chaos. Now I've got dog slime on my glasses. I just finished my 12-day October art challenge, which I titled Adventures Over Leaves. And I only did it for 12 days because I'm also making it into my 2024 calendar. I only wanted to do it for 12 days instead of every single day of the month. And that's because I am busy. I only have so much energy. Don't corrupt me. So I actually originally started with a whole different idea, which I had sketched everything for. I did a whole video for my patrons on how I was preparing for this month's challenge and all that kind of stuff. But last minute, on the last day of September, I completely changed my idea. I was just overwhelmed by how much work it was going to be. It was quite a detailed idea, like it was going to be full on quilts and environments and a person, plus little other things, every single illustration. And I just knew that I was going to get burnt out really, really quickly. And I don't regret it and I love it. And my new idea is a lot more simple, a lot more stripped back, a lot more graphic, so it's a lot easier to manage. Who here has a greyhound and can relate to this kind of behavior? There's a lot of dog slime on my glasses. With everything going on, like you don't have to do 100% all the time. Like it's okay to strip it back and simplify and change your idea so that we can be happier and better and less burnt out all the time. Now that every time I look at it, it's going to be a reminder to allow myself to simplify if I need to, and to change my idea if I need to. Yeah. Anyway, why did I choose the theme Adventures Over Leaves? I actually did a zine years and years ago, called Adventures Over Leaves. And it was actually never popular. I don't think I sold more than 5 copies at zine fairs. But I really liked the idea. I still really like the idea of Adventures Over Leaves. Hello. Came from a different direction. And I wanted to like revitalize. Is that a word that I could use? I wanted to reignite that idea and make a little series of illustrations. And I referenced some of my original illustrations from the zine, but also just like simplified and made it, you know, more me as I am now. So Adventures Over Leaves, I just love nature and the idea of being a tiny little observer and adventurer over all sorts of different types of plants and leaves. Yeah, that was the idea. Can you just go back a little bit more? So mediums I used actually a mixture of Holbein acrylic gouache, which is my favorite medium. I've been using it solidly for the last couple of years. I adore it. It's creamy, it's pigmented, it's delicious. Well, not for eating, but for looking at, for my eyes. And I also have had I've had Neocolor II pastels for ages. They're water soluble wax pastels. And I took them traveling with me when I went to Chile. And I also got like a little plastic tub thing. And what I would do is I'd scribble on the plastic tub and then activate the scribble with water and use it as watercolor. I've seen a couple of artists do this where they would like shave little bits of their crayons, put them into little pans or whatever they have, and just like add water and then use them as watercolor. And I was like, I'm gonna do that because it's gonna save so much time and energy rather than just like scribbling on my piece of plastic and activating it that way. I can make little pans and I can get like tons of paint every time from it. So that's what I did, and it was that simple. All I needed was an empty watercolor pan, which is easy to get off eBay or wherever, or an art supply store. My choice of Neocolor IIs and a small like little blade or knife or Stanley knife thing, and water and your paintbrushes. So all I did was like shaved and cut little tiny chunks of the crayon into the pans, and then just like added a little bit of water with this little plastic pipette. There we go, like it's water activated, so even if it dries you can add more water and it just activates again, so it's super great. And I love the colors, I love the pastelness of them, and just like they're like thick and creamy and really pigmented, but they use like watercolors. I really enjoyed using this way of using Neocolor IIs, and I recommend it if you've got some Neocolor IIs. I know they're expensive, but they also last for quite a while. So even if you just shave off a tiny little bit, or do what I did and scribble onto some plastic and reactivate it with water with your brush, great, really fun. If you don't want to like, if you don't want to like start cutting up your pastels and then never using it, just like try by scribbling on some plastic and reactivating it with water that way.
Now I want to talk to you about how I prepped for this 12-day challenge of mine, creating these adventures over leaves. I was strapped for time. I had a week in Sydney planned. I've got other work commitments going on. October is just a really busy time of year for me, so I wanted to plan really well. And what I did to do that was I actually prepped 12 base paintings all at once. So I had actually didn't really plan it very well. I just went in there and painted different leaf shapes using different colors on 12 different pieces of A5 sized watercolor paper. Yeah, each new piece of paper that I had in front of me, I was just in that moment being like, okay, what's a different color to the one that I used before, and what's a different shape to the one I did before, and tried to visualize it in my brain a little bit, and then just went for it, which was like a bit wild. I usually like to maybe do a couple of little sketches in my sketchbook, but I kind of just went full on with making my little painting background. So what I did was, using the watercolor Neocolor II pans that I had put together, I just used a lot of water, loaded up my brush with a lot of water, and went straight onto the piece of paper, made shapes, filled the shapes in with lots of different colors. The colors all like work within the same kind of color family, just to like give it some interesting dimension to play with when I am layering the next layers on top. And that was really fun to do. It was actually a really nice, speedy activity. I tried not to go too fast. I tried not to go too slow. I just spent like 5, 10, 15 minutes on each one trying to like get shapes and think of things. I didn't worry about where I was going to place the person or what kind of designs I was going to do on top of the leaves themselves. I sort of thought, that's a future Sophie plan. She can deal with it. And actually, I wasn't going to make my little characters quite so small. I was gonna actually make them take up the whole space. I wanted them to be like giants holding all the leaves or doing whatever. When I thought about it, I thought that that idea was maybe a little bit too limiting without having the whole body present in the illustration. Yeah, there's only like so much I could do, and I just thought it would be more fun to shrink my little sprite and have her jump around, sit, rest, do all sorts of different poses. There were like all these different poses in my head. I also spent a little bit of time in my sketchbook where I essentially filled an entire spread, which became like my library of poses. So I just sort of really quickly just thumbnailed, blurted out a bunch of little drawings of little bodies doing different things, different poses, interacting with leaves, and I referred back to that every time I was ready to start a new illustration, and was like, what kind of pose suits this cluster of leaves, and where would she go? A couple of times I got out a really fine Prismacolor pencil, the lightest green or pink possible, just to really gently sketch in where I thought I might like to have the person. I usually try to use my mind's eye as much as I can, because I just hate over sketching on my paintings and then having to deal with rubbing out or erasing the lines. And that does come with its issues. Like there was a piece where I had to actually use the white acrylic gouache and cut a whole chunk of butt off one of my characters because it wasn't proportionally right in my head. But that was okay. Like it's kind of fun to see those sort of mistakes and how I've worked out how to deal with them, make them work, or completely erase them. Yeah, so you're getting like a little sneak peek here on the next 12 videos that you'll be seeing that I will be releasing probably a couple a week over the next, I don't know, 5-6 weeks, however long it takes. And I really hope you enjoy this little series. It's been really lovely and really nice to work on. If you jump onto my Instagram, you'll be able to see all the posts, including little reels of each one. I posted one a day for the first 12 days of October, and I'm really proud of myself for doing it. And now on to all my other work that I have to do this month. I want to say a really, really big, cuddly thank you to my patrons. I simply adore you. Big kisses to you.
Thanks for hanging out with me, watching this video, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.